Oksana and Adam, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for having
having
us.
us.
I'm super excited to talk to you about your journey on how you became, CBD users to actual entrepreneurs and creating products like this, which are absolutely game changers and amazing. CBD is all the rage. Everybody's talking about it. I feel like there's still a learning curve for a lot of people. But I feel like it's a really great opportunity now to hear from you guys, people who were using it for everyday things, and how you decided, we want to help other people. We want to actually make our own. So before we kind of get into the nitty gritty, I'd love to know kind of like where you're from, right? What was it about CBD that was really helping you in terms of your health journey?
So I am from Brooklyn, New York. I spent summers upstate. My parents have property up there, and it was really nice to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city. And our CBD journey started, I think, a few years ago when we were just all like, we heard about it. We're like, oh, let's try it because we don't want to get high, but we want to have the benefits of feeling calm and just like chilling out. So we started taking it. We also knew it worked for animals, and we had a kitty cat. So he was senior, so we started giving it to him and seeing how it like worked for him. Just mobility was great. And we were like, you know what? We have this land upstate. Let's try to make it a business.
So what actual health issues were you using it for?
I was just like a little like anxious. You wake up and you're like, oh my God, I have so much to do. Where do I begin? And so our mind just takes over, and you kind of get into like a paralyzed feeling. So I think by taking it, I noticed that all of a sudden I just felt normal. It's like if someone, you get a medication for that. So if you were like taking a Xanax or something, it would to take the edge off. So I thought, I don't really want to be on any medication. Let's see how this works out. And it does. And you just feel, like yourself, and you go about your day. And if you want to take it again a couple of times throughout the day, it's fine. You're not going to feel anything except for feeling balanced. So that's how it all began.
Yeah, I think a big part of it for me as well was the idea of taking a natural plant medicine versus a pharmaceutical that has side effects. And pharmaceutical companies are so quick to just medicate you with anything. And I think that's just the simple way for people to get through life now. There's a pill I can take. But the idea of a natural medicine with basically no side effects whatsoever for me was a huge benefit. And I primarily was taking it for insomnia. So that it really helps me sleep. I stay asleep during the night. I don't wake up. And I wake up more refreshed than I have in years. So for me, that was the biggest thing. And like Oksana was saying, we had the property. Her father has near 200 acres upstate. So he said, we use the stuff. We have the property here. We know a little bit about growing. Why don't we give it a shot and try? And then after our first season, we said, why don't we do this, make it legit and do a business? We kind of did a test crop the first time to see, how it would turn out. And it was a success. And we said, all right, we have something legitimate here. Why don't we make it a real business and help other people along the way?
That's pretty amazing, right? Most people would just stop at like, let's just help ourselves, right? So there's so many different ways that you can help people with CBD, right? I mean, what are some of the ways that you've seen some of your customers getting relief from, and their pets too, right? Because you have a pet product?
Yes, we have a pet line that includes 2 delicious flavors, including bacon for our furry friends, because a lot of dogs love bacon, as well as a lot of people. So we figured that was a good flavor to go with. But the pets in particular, we saw and heard stories of the benefit of CBD for pets. I had a friend whose dog, he had a German Shepherd, and they had the hip dysplasia a lot of them suffer from. And his dog was not basically getting off the floor for 2 to 3 months. And he started using the product. And within 3 or 4 days, he was sending me videos of the dog up and walking through the backyard. Now, the dog was still old and it still had issues. I mean, it was still stumbling around, but it had gotten up for the first time. There's other stories we had heard about dogs with tumors. And there's actually one that Oksana knows. The dog had a tumor behind its eye.
think it
And
was, yeah, I'm sorry. I think it was like some kind of eye issue that the vet was like, they're going to have to remove this eye. And our friend who's also a farmer, he was giving this dog, who was his uncle's dog, this CBD. And I guess within like 6 weeks, the eye somehow healed. I mean, you hear stories like that, and he brought it to the vet, and the vet thought, wow, I can't believe this is the same dog. So you hear kind of these stories,
Right.
Of real healing, and you kind of have to wonder, like, what's with this plant? But when you see it, the healing taking place in an animal, and that's what, like, I tell our customers, it's like we want to see immediate results. So sometimes when you use CBD, you're like, oh, it's not really working. So you have to therefore increase the dosage, or just take it more consistently. But when you see an animal that is actually it's working on them, and their owners are giving them that medicine consistently, I mean the CBD consistently.
But no, we love to hear stories. We always ask for feedback from our customers. A lot of them tend to use it for just general sense of well-being, stress, anxiety. Some of our customers really use it for more of a pain basis. It helps with anti-inflammations of whatever joints, right? So a lot of people have conditions with arthritis and stuff. So we have a lot of good feedback for that kind of stuff. So that seems to be primarily what people are using it for.
We have a couple cool stories. One of them was a customer who had some injury like 35 years ago, and his femur
broke his leg.
And he didn't really know about CBD much, but we met him at one of the events that we were doing, and he took a chance. Adam was giving him all information for like 30 minutes, and then he bought a bottle, and then he contacted us and said, I don't know what's in this bottle. He's like, but after using it for 6 days, he's like, I don't have that pain anymore. So you're kind of like, I'm actually getting the chills telling you this, because it's just such like a miracle. Like if you have chronic pain and then something natural has given you relief from it. So that was one great story. And then one time at a different event, there was a gentleman who, he buys CBD from some like spot that, it's one of the chain stores. And he had something with his leg also. And I gave him, we usually give samples so they could just kind of see how it is, walk around, come back if, you want to buy our product. So he took the sample, he walked around. I think he actually left the building, and he came back. It was probably like 30, 40 minutes later. And he's like, this is so crazy. He's like, I don't know if it's like mind over matter, but he's like, I don't have this pain anymore. So he bought it from us. And I told him, look, we hand plant, we hand harvest upstate, small batch. There's a lot of products out there. You don't really know what you're getting. I could just tell you that the only difference is like, I literally hand planted this plant. So it's pretty pure. So if it's working for you, I'm happy to hear that. So there's like stories like that. And, we have others.
Well, I think that actually is a great segue into the fact that not all CBD is created equal, right? And there's the market is flooded. There's so many different CBD products out there now. And I think that's a really, really critical and an important point for people to understand. In terms of what they should be looking for when they're looking for the one to buy. If they're going to spend the money, right? You got to, because it's not cheap either, right? So you want to make sure whatever you're getting is as pure as it says it is. So for example, you have these tinctures. So what's in this bottle? Like, what do you put in your products? And
so the natural flavor, I'm not sure what you have in your hand. It's cinnamon or the natural.
Oh, this is natural. Yeah.
Natural. Okay. So the natural has 2 ingredients. It is CBD oil extracted straight from the plant, and it is MCT oil, which is the carrier agent. It's basically a version of coconut oil that's gone through a process that makes, because coconut oil in room temperature is kind of a solid. It's kind of waxy. So this goes through a process that makes it a liquid. MCT, right? A lot of people take it for in other medicinal uses itself, but it's a really great carrier agent to help your body absorb the CBD. So in that bottle, there are 2 ingredients, and that is it. It is a full spectrum. And then our cinnamon just adds...
What does that mean, full spectrum?
So there's 3 different versions of CBD. There's a full spectrum, a broad spectrum, and an isolate. And basically, the full spectrum is all the compounds of the plant, all the terpenes, all the smells, all the flavors, including some of the THC. The broad spectrum is diluted a little bit further. It goes through further of a process. It removes any THC but keeps a lot of the other compounds. And then isolate is basically the most processed version of it, and it removes every other compound except the CBD itself. And you can mostly notice the difference between a full spectrum and an isolate versus for the color. The full spectrum is going to have a lot of the plant compound and material still in it, so it's going to be very dark, sometimes golden yellow, sometimes a little green, sometimes brown.
I'll show you.
And
Yeah, so this is, I don't want it to drip, but yeah, so this is the
Yeah.
color. So it's definitely very
Dark.
dark. It looks like
Yeah.
the olive oil or something.
Yes.
Right. So an isolate is generally pretty clear. A lot of the other things are removed, but a lot of the research shows that THC is needed, some, in order to help your brain. It's almost synergistic, right? The chemicals kind of work together. The THC, in a way, activates the CBD. So people do use isolates. It's mostly meant to be mixed with other products that you don't want to taste, like the plant, like edibles and stuff will use isolates. But the full spectrum for the research basically is the best way to ingest. And that's why we decided to go with a full spectrum product.
Right. And I think it's important to remember, though, also that even though there is a little bit of THC, it's only up to 0.3%, right?
0.3%.
And it will not get too high.
Yeah, it will not. Anything, you'd have to be way above like 10 to 12% to have any effect. The legal requirements federally are 3%. All of our products test around 2.
Point 2.
0.2, sorry, 2.2. So we're way below the standard.
And this is also because this is made from the hemp plant, right?
Right.
This is not made from the marijuana plant. So that's also a distinguishing factor, which I think that's going to change as, marijuana becomes more legalized across the board and people want stronger THC. But for right now, and you're in New York State, and it is different state to state, but yeah, so this is a hemp extract.
Hemp extract, right, which is a cousin of the marijuana plant.
Right. First cousin.
First cousin.
That's like,
So, I mean, just to back up what you were saying before, the problem is there is a lot of fake products out there. I mean, if you see something on the shelf of a gas station that's selling for $15, $20, and it's got no link to a lab report or it's a company you never heard of, chances are it's probably olive oil in a jar. I mean, I don't know.
I think with that is just that, it could be hemp oil, whatever it is. If you don't want to get your CBD in a gas station. So
First off,
first of all, don't go to the gas station for your CBD because there's CBD signs everywhere. CBD, CBD,
Right.
CBD, and you're just like, oh my gosh! And there's so many products, So some of them are legitimate products, and then others you have to question, like, hey, this is kind of crazy. I can get it this, but I could get it at the gas station. You're like, all right, I don't think that's really getting what you think you're getting, but
Yeah, and you have to pay attention to the labels as well. If it says hemp oil on it, then it is hemp oil, which means it contains 0 CBD, which is not going to give you the health benefits. So it needs to have actual CBD in it. And right now, so we have customers who go, customers that used to buy from other places that said, oh, I buy my CBD from Amazon. Well, Amazon doesn't sell CBD.
right.
It's
just hemp
they
oil.
they consider it, whatever practice.
A narcotic.
They don't sell it. So if you're buying it from Amazon, it's pure hemp oil, and you're being lied to. So it's you just have to be aware of the brand, right? I mean, you do your research on the company. Like for us, our website shows our About Us section with everything about us and our farm and our process, the seeds that we use each season. We have pictures of the plants, and the most importantly is there's lab reports, right? You can click. You basically follow that lot number on the bottom of the bottle, and you can find the lab report that shows exactly what is in it, and most importantly, what's not in it as well. Which pesticides and heavy metals and stuff can get into the plant during the process. So we like to have those lab reports to show that it's healthy, and what we say is in it is actually in it.
I mean, even though they're hard to understand if you don't know what you're looking at, but we are third-party tested, so that's kind of what differentiates a lot of companies. I mean, I think a lot of companies in the States have to have that third-party tested and lab results available. But I think just doing research on what you're buying, because it is expensive, is really important for the consumer.
yeah, I think that, I love how you have this QR code here, so that links right to your website, I'm assuming. So that is, the third-party testing is really critical, right? So the main things you do want to know, make sure that it has what it says that it has, and then also, like you were saying, the heavy metals, right? Because soils can carry a lot of heavy metals, and then, it can get into your bottle. So when you're recommending this to a customer, how much do you recommend for them to take? If they're, first-time buyers, and then also, how do you recommend them to take it? So, is it under the tongue? Is it they just swish it around? What do you want them to do?
So, as a first-time buyer, I kind of find out what they're going to be using it for. If it's something like sleep-related, or if it's something more severe, I encourage them to buy the stronger dose that we carry, because if you're having something going on, then you definitely, need a little bit more than if you're just starting and you're like, oh, I'm just using this for, anxiety or something. So if you have some kind of medical inflammation issue, I encourage the stronger dose, so this is our 2,400 milligram, and a full dropper is 80. Full is 80 milligrams.
Mm-hmm.
So you could take it, sometimes you could start off with a half a dropper under the tongue, let it sit under your tongue before you swallow for probably, up to a minute. So it just goes in, doesn't get absorbed into your stomach, so it works a little bit differently. And then, I tell them take it for a minimum of 4 to 5 days that way. And if you're feeling relief, then that dose is good for you. If you feel like it's not really working for you, then you should increase it to the full dropper. And usually they'll see results. Even the 600 milligram bottle, which is 20 milligrams for the whole dropper full, it's pretty powerful for some people. And when we are doing our events, we're giving out samples of 600, and some of these people, they feel it right away. So It's it works. It's a very potent formula, and it's pretty pure, and when you do have some kind of imbalance in the body, this really goes to where you need it, and you'll see pretty much immediate results.
I find that, if I've taken too much, which I've done a couple of times, when you say you feel it, right? I think it's not like you feel like you're high. You feel like some sort of just, I don't know. You just feel kind of chill.
I say zen.
Yeah.
Just not a sense of calm, a sense of well-being.
But if you take too much,
I don't have any particular stories of anyone telling me that they've experienced that feeling. But I suppose you could.
Well, I did.
You personally did. Okay.
Yeah, and it's just you feel tired, to be honest.
Oh, okay. So just kind of.
Yeah, I took way too. I don't know what I was doing, but I think I took like 3 dropperfuls, and
of the strong one of the 1200.
Yeah, it was. It was back in the day, but it was. Yeah, and I was just so sleepy.
You're like, you needed something. You're like, let me take it, and you're like, wait a minute, what the heck's going on here? Yeah.
So I do want to caution people that it's better to take less, and then take a little bit more.
Yeah,
less.
Everybody's body works differently the way it metabolizes the CBD, and it's based on your size and weight, right? So if we do a lot of market events where we get to meet people in person. So if there's a guy who's 6'5" and he walks up to me and he's 280 pounds, I'm going to recommend a stronger dose for him. Versus someone who's smaller, maybe 5'7", lightweight, I would maybe say start with the 600 milligram. Now, one thing we wanted to do that was simple for customers is all our strengths from 600 to 1200 to 24 to 48, we doubled the strength. So no matter what bottle you have, if you know what works for you, you can either half the dose or double it to be equivalent to the next strength up. And we wanted that math just to be simple. Some people start with the 600 milligram bottle, which delivers 20 milligrams per dose. And after about a week is when we recommend you adjust to see. And then you could double it or vice versa. If you had a stronger bottle and you found it was working and you say, well, maybe half of it works, you could adjust. We say 5 to 7 days. It takes about that long for your body to kind of get used to it. So you'll feel the effects at that point the most. So you'll know when to adjust about that point.
That's so awesome. It's so awesome. So if people want to give this a try, you're offering a 20% discount to viewers or to listeners, whichever. And they just have to put in the code Modern Aging, and I'll put the link below. So I think that's amazing. I mean, I really, really love this brand. I think you guys have done such a great job. And it's pretty crazy because it's from a family farm. You're not, this is not some huge corporation doing this. This is like, you guys have seen like from seedling to it being on the shelf.
That was probably the most exciting aspect of this journey for us is all the prep and all the work for not only the farming aspect, but getting the business up and running, figuring out the name of the company and the colors we wanted to use for the labels and the bottles. And once we finally held that product in our hand, once it came back from the lab and we picked the bottle up for the first time, we said, this is it. We've done it. I mean, we went from an idea of, should we do this legitimately in a business and getting the seeds to having it in a shelf, as you say, and then hearing the stories on top of that about the results people are experiencing for us just inspires us to want to do even more, make even more products. And it's been a wild ride, and we're so happy that her dad is 90 years old and he's still able to come out during the harvest and help us. And his name is Roman, just for people wondering where the name Roman Empire Farms came from. We wanted to pay homage to him, since if he didn't own this property, if it wasn't in the family, we wouldn't be able to do this. So we named it after him, and since we grow in the Empire State of New York, we kind of combined it, and Roman Empire Farms was born.
It's so awesome. It's so awesome. And so before we wrap this up, actually, I was just looking at your roll-on. So like for people who are too scared to ingest CBD, right? They've never tried it before. It's too nerve-wracking for them to even try. I think this topicals are a great way, a great introduction to that, right? I would assume this smells like lavender, and it's just so lovely. So what are you hoping? So what are you recommending people use this for?
So that is called the Mind Relief Roll-On, and it's made with, the full spectrum CBD plus lavender and peppermint. And so the peppermint works also as an anti-inflammatory, and the lavender is giving you that sense of calmness. So you could use it for migraines, rub it on your temples, 3 times, then 5 minutes, headaches go away. If you have neck pain, knee pain, even like people who've purchased it have used it on their arthritis in their hands. So it's really kind of miraculous too. And you could just use it throughout the day. You could keep using it throughout the day just as you need it.
Yeah, your skin absorbs that completely differently than when you ingest it. So you can't really overdo it with the topical. We just say apply it as many times as you need. I recommend, obviously with the mind relief aspect, we put the lavender in there to promote a sense of calm. Lavender is known to help people feel relaxed and fall asleep. So I always say, it's great to rub it into your wrist, kind of rub it into your forehead, your temples. End of a long day, you're stressed, you want to kick back and relax on the couch for a little bit. That'll help you get in that Zen moment. And also for the pain relief. So that one is really good for pain that's absorbs right to the point.
And I have it in my bag when I'm on the subway, so I just kind of give myself a escape from New York transit,
or even the smells of the subway sometimes.
Yeah, so I'll put in the ribs and here, and the skin is the largest organ, so really the anti-inflammatory aspect of what's in the bottle really absorbs into your skin,
and the peppermint's great as well. We added that too because it's antiviral and antibacterial on your skin, so that was a big aspect of putting that on in the bottle. And for people wondering, this is the same formula as we use in the tincture. It just has the lavender and peppermint added to it instead of the other flavor, what we use for our cinnamons and stuff.
And it's pretty strong. This is 800 milligrams in this bottle. And it lasts a pretty long time considering it's a small little bottle, But you could use it for anything. Any pain you have, just hit that spot with this and rub it in good, and you will definitely see results, within 10 minutes.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. Oh my God, Oksana and Adam, thank you so much. So if people want to reach out to you or they want to know more about Roman Empire, where do they go?
They could go to our Instagram and our Instagram page, send us a message, or they could send an email to info@romanempirefarms.com.
And the website is just straight www.romanempirefarms.com.
That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. This has been awesome.
Thank you
thank
for
you,
having
Risa.
us.